Hello everybody and welcome to a very special vlog from Lady Parts. We have one of our favorite people in the whole wide world
and a
special guest today, Lorie Hurst. You will soon find Jilly's very long list of attributes and
credits
and wonderful things that we all owe to her. So, just to start, Mimi, you take over because Mimi.
Well, first of all,
Mimi
I'm Mimi Torchin,
and I'm Liron Cohen, and this is Lorie Hurst. Okay. In case you didn't know,
because sometimes we forget to introduce ourselves.
Now, some of you may not know, but I can't imagine. But Mimi here is a soap expert, not an actress.
Well, actually, I did do several under fives.
Cameos, yes. But Mimi's a soap expert, so it's only fitting that you will start with Jill's introduction.
Anyway, Jill, the great Jill, was the head writer of Guiding Light.
Co-head. Okay, this is
your co.
I had three co.
And who were they?
Three boys. David Kreisman, Lucky Gold, and Chris Dunn. Three talented men. And
a woman.
Ellen
Okay, but basically, Jill was the head writer.
This is though
of Guiding Light.
In their minds, which
this is a disclaimer we have to put. Jill will try to take everything we say about her that's great and make it
push
much
it down.
smaller.
Yes.
But you take our word for it.
Right.
It's nice to have good friends.
Well, we feel the same. Anyway, during its heyday, how many years, Jilly?
72 years, Guiding Light?
No,
you. Guiding Light, yes, 72 years since 1937.
I was with the show for 17 years, but that includes front desk. Yeah.
Right.
Well, we want to hear all about
that.
But
anyway, Jill, when did you start head writing?
Oh, only one amazing year, the year we got canceled.
And how many years did you co-write? Did you also write scripts?
I started writing in 1998, I believe it was. So only 11 years as an actual writer.
Only 11 years. It's a very
all over the place.
Very crucial and terrific 11 years.
Yes,
including the great Otalia story,
which we will get to.
And we will certainly get to the Otalia story because it was very, very important to many people's lives,
especially to us.
Yes. As we know, Guiding Light was on the air for 72 years. It started in 1937 on the NBC Red Network on radio. I think it was in 1952 that it went to television, and it started as 15 minutes. What I love is it started off when it, I believe when it was on radio, Reverend Rutledge.
Yes.
It was a religious-based drama, and it ended with a lesbian story. And I just love that progression, you know. It may have been a little frustrating, a lesbian storyline, but there it went. And
one of the best lesbian storylines ever.
Yes, and it was.
Well, we'll get to that.
Anyway, it was certainly. Also, I really felt that Guiding Light in that last year, it was one of my favorite years. I loved what Ellen Wheeler, the producer, in order to save money and hang on for the last 2 years.
What got me into the show, the fact that it looked real.
It looked real. The fact that you all had to go to New Jersey and
indeed we did
and shoot on location, Peapack, New Jersey,
with real lights. Everybody looked better with sunshine.
You were in actual places. When you went outside, you went outside.
No fake trees.
It all looked so fabulous. It was like watching a movie.
Yeah.
And I know that soap fans rebel against that kind of a thing. They really, really do, because when Sunset Beach started, it was amazing. It was very film-like, and I just loved it, and I would rant and rave about how fabulous it was. But the fans also rant and raved about how awful it was. It didn't look like a soap.
Interesting.
Yeah. And after about a week or two, it went right back to flat videotape, and without the film look, and that sort of broke my heart. But anyway, let's talk
about Otalia.
Okay.
Well, I mean, let's introduce Otalia. So, some of you may know Olivia and Natalia, played by Krista Chappelle and Jessica Lucia, starred in what started as a very tentative, but soon enough we all realized, a love story between two women. I have to tell a story that when I was back in Israel and I wasn't watching Guiding Light. I didn't even know of Guiding Light's existence. And one day a friend of mine sends me a message. Oh, Liron, you have to start following this lesbian storyline. It's these two women. One of them donates the heart of her dead husband to the other woman, and then they fall in love. And I was like, oh no, please. Oh my God, that sounds terrible. But then after Ellen put on the Tarzan Jane kiss. And I just fell in love with it. And I came for Otalia. I stayed for the show because the show was wonderful. And everybody on it, you could just sense the family, the love between everybody. And it became a huge community. Shout out to the Purple Girls, BPD, Big Purple Dreams. And I would like to know, tell us the story of how you got to Guiding Light, because that is a fabulous story.
Your trajectory.
Oh, the story that nobody wants to hear again.
Everybody wants to hear.
You know what?
It's the story the dreams are made of.
I don't know how many people heard
I
it.
am the luckiest person in the whole world and continue
And
to
also
be.
talented.
In my long and winding road. I think that's what my sister called it today when I talked
The
to her.
long and winding road.
Yes. I was a very happy waitress for 10 years, and enjoying my no pressure job in the garment district, waiting tables and going to Europe and getting home in time to watch Guiding Light.
That's
It was a
very
breakfast
important.
lunch, yeah. And one of my customers asked me if I would like to go on a tour of her husband's television studio. And because she wanted to kind of push me into something wanted me to get out there.
People are want to do with people they see have brains and talent. Go on.
Well, and the studio, they made television commercials, and I said, oh, that would be interesting. She said, they also taped the soap opera Guiding Light.
Were you a fan?
Yes, I was. I was a kid who grew up watching P&G soaps with my mother, and then on my own, I think really after she had gone back to work and wasn't really interested, I was the one of the family who was, definitely a fan always. And went on the tour, thought that was wonderful, met some of the actors, very excited. Went home a year later, they called and asked me if I'd like to be a receptionist, work front desk part-time. So I'd go from the waitressing job to the reception desk. Did that for about a year and a half with no particular plan or then ambition. I think they needed a writer's assistant. And I think I was about their third or fourth choice. They liked me, but it wasn't a slam dunk. I mean, there were definitely some young people who said, no, not really what I'm into. And I finally got that job and went behind the glass door into the studio, and great, wonderful job. Had wonderful people that walked me through it and did that for an extraordinarily long time. The unambitious person I am. And then Nancy Williams-Watt, wonderful scriptwriter, editor, friend, had the idea of pairing David Kreisman and me and getting us a script deal. And Paul Rausch, who guided my career particularly, maybe more than anybody, gave us a chance to write scripts together. And then when Nancy went on to Passions, I kind of tumbled into the script editing job, and then various other, they just moved me around because I was just so damn happy to be there. I realized that when I thought, why did they keep me? And sometimes they didn't.
Well, maybe because they were happy with you.
Well, sometimes they didn't want to keep me, but they kind of had to. And I was like gum on their shoe, and so I would do whatever job, right? I produced for a year, and I did a few different things back and forth. Anyway,
And then you became head writer.
Co-head writer.
Which doesn't take away from the head writer.
Had all been head writers before and were very good at it. And it was such a funny time of learning that boys and girls speak different languages. We weren't very well behaved.
Mars and Venus, right?
But they're all really, really good. And I really didn't aspire to have that job. I said when Ellen called me, I said to my husband, start saving money because this is my last contract at Guiding Light. I just thought, because once you're a head writer and then they're finished, you're finished. Usually they'll, you're done.
Sort of as high as you can go.
And what happened, of course, I got the show canceled.
You got the show.
The show canceled.
This is a scoop.
You kept the show going longer than it would have.
Oh.
You know how many years
the ex.
the axe was hanging over Guiding Light's head.
Yeah,
For
you know
about
that
10
probably better
years.
than
Well, and
me.
actually,
Yeah.
changing the production.
Because I know how many years I
um,
screamed and yelled about it.
Well, and changing the production was all about saving money, right?
Yes, it was, and Ellen Wheeler bought us a lot of time that we wouldn't have had, and she's a brave woman. And we all thought. I mean, I was nervous, and the actors were nervous, and then they realized how fabulous they all looked out there in the natural light. And how they
Crystal,
were,
fantastic.
Crystal Chappelle never looked more beautiful
She's like, yeah.
than either with sun or snow. Snow was even better than
snow.
sun.
That was
Oh my
great.
God.
That
Yes, the gazebo.
Well, she was
Yeah.
radiant
They
in
were
the snow.
amazing.
Yeah.
but yeah.
Anyway, what it really was is you all were the first step in P&G getting out of the soap business.
Yeah.
They really wanted to, didn't they?
I think that's true.
Yeah.
I really do think so, because they could have stayed in, and they could have changed everything. They could have fired all of us. They could have done so many things.
They could
And
have
I
gone
think
down
they
to
were
a
just.
half
I
an
would have
hour.
loved a half hour. I love a half hour.
I
soap.
advocated for that for all the soaps.
Yes.
Go back to a
Because
half
the
an
medium
hour.
became so expensive.
Yeah, it was
That's
too
what
much
they
And
money.
because
And
people,
you know what? There
people
was too
didn't
much
have
filler.
time.
It's time.
There was
Yeah.
too much filler, and people didn't have time to
Love a
devote to
half
that.
hour soap.
Yep.
Yes.
But
So
woe is us.
Exactly.
So with Otalia, by the way, if you haven't seen Otalia, go on YouTube to the channel Otalia Fan. Everything Otalia from beginning to end, and
What
unfortunately
did
there
I
wasn't
watch
an end.
the other day? Oh, My Two Mommies. That's right.
Oh, one of
The two
my
of them sitting
favorite
together.
scenes.
Somebody was watching it with me who'd never seen them, and loved seeing the faces. Jessica just so
That was the
proud,
climax.
and Crystal playing all of it. You know.
my
Yeah,
God.
Yeah, because
yeah.
she was so naive and she didn't
Yes.
realize what was going on.
That was before. That
was before the
preceded
Tarzan
first
day.
and
Yes.
only kiss.
Well, no, there was another almost kiss at the
Oh,
hospital.
right.
Remember?
That's right.
Yes.
Yeah,
Very
except she
close.
was unconscious, so it didn't count.
Well, it
Well,
showed
you
us that
know.
it showed us that Jessica's character Natalia was finally catching on to
Yeah.
what the hell was going on.
Yeah.
But tell us, how did Otalia? What was the owner? How did it come about? What happened?
It started there's a very pragmatic reason for it at the beginning. Sadly, when Ricky Paul Golden decided to leave the show, and he and Jessica, there was a Harley Natalia.
That's what we had to do.
Yeah, and Ellen said, well, Ellen and Dave, I believe, said, oh, we're going to kill him. And so we hadn't even really thought about Otalia, but honestly, it was a series of, thoughts and conversations. Ellen and her husband had a conversation, and he said, well, what about? And she said,
Really?
uh-huh.
But did you have to?
Wow.
But did you have to pitch it, and then did you come up? Did you have to
We
fight
didn't
for
pitch
it?
We just
just
started
wrote it.
writing it, because if you pitch it, everybody. I watched that happen too many times. Claire Labine and I wanted to do that story with Maureen Garrett and Crystal Chappelle.
And they wanted to do it too.
They wanted to do it
They
as well.
really did, because I know Maureen told me that.
And yes, and we made the mistake here of Claire. I wasn't pitching at the time, but Claire, who could pitch anything, they weren't ready. They weren't going to do it. And they loved her, Claire, but they weren't ready. So I don't pitch it. Just start.
Just
telling
do it, and then it's harder to stop.
And
And
we
once
just
it's on
started,
there.
and we're just kind of.
And also, it was very innocent at the beginning. They were just folding laundry.
I spotted it a mile away.
Yes, but that's because
then,
we had
then
the
we did
gate
do our
on.
jobs. Well, that's good though, because
I said,
that
You were building it
I said, wait a minute.
slowly.
wait a minute, is this,
What's going on here?
could they be,
Because if this
is this
were
going to be?
because if this were a boy and a girl, you
And
would
it
know
was,
immediately
of course,
that he was
because
heading
right.
towards a
They were
relationship.
angry, they didn't like each other.
And then they moved
all
in
the
together.
classic
And
things,
they started
hate each other,
working, and then she, it was brilliant. It was brilliantly
that
built.
was Ellen. That I really have to say, because the tendency in those days was to hurry everything up. Stories, fall in love, fall into bed, get it over with, done, break up, whatever. And because I think she was smart enough to know that she was going to meet with a lot of resistance.
Mhm.
So I remember being in the meeting when the network said, "So where are we going?" I'm very trying, and a good smart network person. So trying not to but wondering about who she was going to have to talk to, or what it was going to be, what was going to happen. And Ellen just said they're falling in love, and it was just, it was a great moment in a meeting where you think,
And what
Great
did happen?
moments in soap history.
silent, just quiet, because everyone was smart enough to know that was a story that should be told, and it was, but at the same time, everyone is wondering if people are going to pull it. advertise. You know what's going to happen. You know what's going to happen.
Well,
what
I
I
did. So, I mean,
no,
I
don't think so.
No, I don't think we lost anything.
What I don't understand, because as we know, we never really got satisfaction.
No.
We never got another kiss. We never got sex. We never. I mean, even the suggestion of it. We didn't. No one needed to see them have sex.
well, I mean, but
we wanted to just have the
But it
night
also-
before
but it
and the
also-
morning after.
But it
Exactly.
also got to the point where they didn't do things that
Yes.
regular women friends would do,
regular
like give you a
friends would
little
do. They
hug or kiss on the cheek.
it
or-
was so
we
crazy.
were cautioned to be very careful about them touching each other. And but the actresses, as Ellen said, because we were not on set either, she said, even if I were to take that, I am not with the actors. They are going to play the, you know,
They're going to play the
even in
story.
and I've watched. There's some person put. I don't. You guys have probably seen the Otalia, Alleluia, the song.
No.
Oh, the
I
Leonard
don't think
Cohen.
so. Oh.
Oh, watch it.
You will. Anyway,
It's all just scenes, and these two are
they
just
played
together.
it.
And there's more. And honestly, I can tell you that everyone on the writing team, every actor on the show was rooting for that relationship. It was the big love story, and people loved watching it.
And they played it.
And
They
the
played
chemistry.
It was
the
like
chemistry
Carol.
between
There
them.
were nothing
Yeah.
was written. You know,
It
there
was
were no
all
words.
subtext.
It was all subtext. And I had this thing. I had this fantasy
With
of
the
those
theory.
suits. This theory of those suits sitting up there in their office, going, "How long do you think we can string them on? How long do you think they'll keep watching if
How
we
close
don't
to
let them
reality
have
was that?
anything? We'll
That's
just
very
see how far we can go and give them nothing."
I wish I'd been in the meetings. I wish I, knew 100%.
That's how artificial it felt.
Yeah.
That they
No,
were.
it felt like
it felt
somebody
like
was
somebody was just
pulling back and
pull-
not letting you do what you wanted to do, which is because it was
It felt
there was
mean.
there was a very certain trajectory where you were headed and all of a sudden it like hit a wall and it stayed
It felt on purpose. Not
Yeah.
we knew it wasn't you all,
there. Yeah.
but it felt like it was. We were like it was mean spirited.
And I'm sure that the decision-making people would say not at all. They would have a good answer for you.
Really? How
Well,
good could it be?
not a good answer, but there, because we were never. They never said. Well, they did say you can't. We couldn't go forward with the physical relationship.
And what did they have to lose? The show was canceled. at a
Yes.
certain point. That was
Yeah.
when.
Did they give you a reason?
That was
I
when the
remember a
rage.
discussion with Crystal when she came and said, "Just tell me, are we going to be able to get the payoff of this?" And I hesitated, which is they all know me too well. The minute I go, she went, "Fine." And she just went. I loved her. Crystal, I hope you watch us.
Yes,
She just
well,
was,
then
and I
really.
knew. I mean, there was nothing I could say to her because I wasn't going to lie to her.
What
She
was the
just- There was
point?
no, and it wasn't my decision, but I wasn't going to defend. I just had to say.
Did they give you a
Did
reason?
they give you a reason? The show was canceled. They had
I think
nothing
it was
to
on
lose.
CBS. I think it's just in general, and yet a year later, on
The
As
men.
World Turns,
They had the men.
boys got together,
Yes.
and I remember throwing something. I was truly so angry, and I was happy for their show,
Yeah.
but I was really upset.
The
And the
man's
thing is
world.
also that we
Yeah.
at the time we had a letter writing campaign. We sent gifts. We sent postcards. We sent everything.
We've been working out of the studio, and we didn't realize a lot of this. And we would come in, and the writer's assistant and Ellen's assistant would say, "You guys, you have mail, you have presents. There are purple flowers on your desk," and we didn't realize honestly how big
Oh,
a reaction.
it meant so much to so
at
many
what
people.
stage in the show did you realize that?
Well,
Where were you?
Oh well. When we really realized how important it was, well, we knew it was important. You just know when you're telling a
Yeah.
certain kind of story that it's important, and when you're telling a good old-fashioned love story.
But this kind of
That's-
and it
fandom,
was.
this
that's
kind
the
of
thing.
fandom is
It
something
wasn't.
I've never.
It wasn't right.
I'd never encountered before, and I honestly have never encountered since.
Yeah, well, we had two spectacularly good and beautiful actresses.
good
who
and
had- You can't watch
beautiful.
them
Who
all.
had the
That's
most
why-
amazing chemistry?
Who had the most amazing chemistry?
My husband watches Venice. He'll turn around. He says, "These are beautiful, amazing, and good actresses with
Yeah.
wonderful
and
chemistry."
who committed
They did.
100%.
Right? Yes, they committed. Everyone involved in the story. Everyone was joyful when they had scenes. People like the men from their past who would have seen, like Robert Newman, just had a great time watching Crystal fall in love. I mean, he loved. There was something. Everybody loved the story.
Yes,
It
because
was
actually, poor Olivia was never happy
No,
in love.
she
No,
never got
actually,
she always
is it something that you were thinking that that makes
I remember
sense?
Grant saying that too. Everyone was just like,
Well, there we
That
go.
makes
That's
sense.
good.
That's why she's never
That's
been
why it
happy.
never worked.
She finally found her person. This
Wow.
is her, and it was everybody enjoyed it. We loved it. I really didn't realize until the Paley Center because
Which was too late.
which was too late. We were done. So
Wow.
yeah,
We thought we were getting to somebody. We thought we were going to change their minds.
No, they did not. I often wonder, had we gone forward? I often wondered because they were talking about a year more, they had us write up some notes for a year to come, and that would be part of it.
But
Maybe
if they
that's why-
wouldn't let you do it when they were canceled,
Right, why would they
let you do it when they were going
Again,
forward?
Ellen would probably have better answers to those kind of questions. She would understand the mindset better than me. I didn't go to the meetings, the final meetings, but yeah, it was there were phone calls to us when we were working. Just keep just.
I wonder if it would be different now, with gay marriage and.
I would
you
like
know,
to think so. I would
7
like to
years
think so.
later.
7
But
years,
companies have their particular ways of
Yes, and we know how P&G
But-
is. I mean, listen, we had our problems with P&G when the magazine. I'd never encountered this before. When the magazine had a P&G ad, once I had a phone call from the publisher saying, "You have that story that mentions the word rape and it's opposite a P&G ad.
Really?
You're going to have to put something else on that page, or you're going to have to change." I said, "Well, I can't change the story. It's about rape." Okay.
Yeah.
There were certain words you could not have, certain topics you could not have opposite a P&G ad.
So before we move on to Venice,
Okay.
we do want to talk about the fact that you're a matchmaker.
Yes,
we
really.
owe this to her.
To her, exactly. We really, really
I
do.
love to think that.
And actually, I owe you some of my best friends.
That's
we
the
have
most
all
wonderful
that.
thing that came out of.
But really, the fandom, again, I can't stress this enough, it was one of the most amazing experiences we've ever had. And so many, when we think about the couples that came out of that fandom,
Yes.
the people who moved countries,
they
who
moved-
left husbands, who changed sexual orientations.
It was unbelievable. Now, I went on Twitter because I had just finished my photographic website. And people said, "You have to go on social media." And I went, "Oh, no, I don't want to
Now
do
try to
it."
take her off
Yeah.
social media.
I don't want to. They said you have to. And so that's why I went to social media. And sort of shortly thereafter, Nelson Branco,
Oh yeah.
because the show was coming to its end, and he said, "Why don't you write the guiding light segment of my column?" Which started off this big, got this big, got this big. I would get
She's not
little
known for
messages.
being
I used to get
succinct.
messages from his editor. Could you cut out a few words, please? But basically, they let me have anyway, because I was such a guiding light fan, and so I would write, of course, at length about Otalia. And I was basically not really out in the world then, but it was pretty obvious.
No, it wasn't, actually. No, it wasn't.
Anyway,
I remember DMs from my friends. Did she just come out? Did Mimi Torchin just come out on Twitter?
Yes. Anyway,
she did.
I said something nice about Otalia and Crystal, who I've known for 1,000 years. Even I think it was even while I was still Soap Opera's Greatest Stories and Stars, even before Soap Opera Weekly. She said, "How much do we love Mimi Torchin?"
And she tagged her.
And all of a sudden, from
everybody started
250 followers, I had 1,500 followers,
I know.
including Liron.
One of them of me. And then we continued to never talk to each other for I don't know how long.
Quite a while.
And then all of a sudden, I saw her on my feed saying something. I was doing my own thing, and I tweeted her, and we started tweeting, and then we started DMing, and then we started emailing, and then we started vid chatting, and then we met, and then we got married. So
And twice.
and
Twice.
all thanks
Julie was
to
at our real
Julie.
wedding.
Yeah.
Yes,
Yes,
we have
she
to
was.
flash a
to get
picture
married. I really
We'll
do want them to
show
get
it.
married every
with
year.
her
I want-
purple fingernails.
With my purple fingernails.
And your
And her
hat.
hat.
Oh, yeah.
There she
It
was.
was like a royal
wedding.
I know, I was the queen mother.
No, it was a little bit of an
loved it.
homage to Orla Cassidy, right?
Yes,
Yeah.
and there she was,
Yes.
wearing a hat.
Wearing
Do you know how many
a
times
hat.
Do you know how
say
many
that?
times we quote things from Otalia?
Oh,
You know that the song from Guiding Light, the theme song, my
Yeah.
friend still has, that's her ringtone for me when I call her.
that's cute.
See, no, this is,
Yeah.
you don't
It
know
was
how
epic.
much
It's
it
actually-
means.
no,
It
it's a
means so
community-
much.
Oh,
It
it's
was
meant a
epic.
lot to me and just a good group of people.
It is
I mean, it's
good.
like
fantastic group of people.
Just
Yeah.
amazing.
Really,
Really,
and
really
from
well.
all over the world.
Yeah.
And to this day, we're all friends, and it's wonderful, and it's like it's
And
one
we're
of the
still
best
married.
things. And we're still
And they
married.
are. And, look at them.
And all thanks to Big Purple Dreams.
And my website.
I-
Photographic
That's
website.
right. Thank goodness you would. Yeah, exactly. Thank goodness you were putting yourself out there.
So Guiding Light ended
Yes,
with
it
much
did.
sadness, but Crystal didn't waste any time.
No, she
No.
didn't.
And with much buzz and everybody being, hysterical, crashing CNN's website and all sorts of things,
Venice had the most
she went
publicity.
on to do a web series
Yes.
with Jessica Lucia called Venice.
It had the most publicity of any web series, I think, in history.
The first web series to win an Emmy.
Yes.
It really had amazing buzz. I went to Israel to visit Liron, and
in 2009.
and I was interviewed by a TV magazine,
Sort of like
called
TV
Ladies.
Guide in Israel.
Yes.
Oh, okay.
They knew American soaps. They knew me, and they asked me about Venice.
Yeah. It was
In
far and
Israel.
wide.
Isn't that amazing?
And then Blog Talk Radio, when you did your podcast with Jessica and Crystal, it was
It was the highest rated
podcast.
podcast
I'm not
to
surprised.
that. To
Yeah,
date.
they wanted to give you the.
Yeah, they wanted to give us. They said every time you do it, we'll give you our front page. But
Yeah.
of course, I don't know what happened, but we never did another one until
Oh, we'll
way
have to
later
do it.
on.
Yeah, we'll have to do another one.
Oh, there. Yeah. I. That doesn't. The two of them. I mean, they're just a classic couple. I'm not surprised. I mean, they're just wonderful.
Yes,
I mean,
it was
well,
a great
and I
blog,
think
and they had 6,000 listeners.
They're also
But I think-
two of the funniest women I know. I mean,
Adorable.
they're funny.
Oh, they were
smart.
great.
I remember the
interviews.
second
Yeah.
vlog when Nadia was in it
Oh my
too,
God,
and
and
we were on
everybody
the
was
vineyard.
drunk.
Everybody was drunk on their bathroom
their-
floor or whatever.
No, it was after
It
a
was like
party.
herding cats. We were
Oh
trying to
my
get
God.
everybody.
Now let's get back to
Can
the
we just-
topic.
yeah.
We did it on the
Oh my
phone.
gosh.
Oh, it was hilarious. It was terrible, but it
If
was
you
hilarious.
might be able to find it on Blog Talk
I'm gonna
Radio.
look for it.
But the show had a lot of, it
Yeah.
was struggling in the beginning. And I personally think that one of the major problems was because I think Crystal and Jessica, or I don't know who, did not want to create an Otalia 2.0. And so the show started with them being apart.
Started-
With Gina, Crystal's
Well,
the character, and Annie.
Did it
Jessica's
open
character.
with them in bed though?
Yes, but immediately after that.
they gave
They
them
did
that.
give the yes.
Yeah.
Yes, they will get
And I'm
the
doing
kiss.
that.
They gave the kiss. Well, we didn't see that. We
I
just saw
know,
the
but-
kissing in bed. But we got the kiss, and then after that, they were separated, and it was all angst.
Wasn't
And-
even P&G didn't have anything to do with it.
Which I
We're
know
just
that,
all hardwired to think a network is calling us. No.
or I know that Crystal was trying to do something that was different. But I think for the fans, it was just to give it to us. We just want to see you together.
I think that the question would have been probably, and then what? I think we were. And again, I didn't actually start working with Crystal until the third season.
Right.
So she probably had the thought in her head, the make them
Make them laugh, make them cry, make them wait.
The Agnes.
Thank you, Agnes.
Yes.
Agnes
Um,
Nixon.
Yes.
Because she's a classic soap storyteller. But I do you feel like you would have liked to? I ask you, would you have liked to have had them
Yes.
see the relationship?
Yes.
Yes,
Absolutely.
Let-
There's
let it
plenty
break
of-
up.
There are two ways.
There's
Let
plenty
it break up, but let us have it.
There's plenty of
first.
angst. There's
know.
plenty of angst that can happen when people are together.
Yes.
But really, at that point, we had been waiting so long.
Right.
You didn't need to make us wait any longer.
and this is what everyone was waiting
Yeah.
for.
This is what Venice was
We need
about.
you here to talk about this.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But and also it was one of the first web series. Hello, Louise.
Sweetie.
Hello, Louise.
We taped this in our house, as you know, which is why you hear dogs bark in the hall.
well, and Louise and
music.
Missy
And
are.
Louise and Missy
there-
often make
there
guest
are-
appearances.
There are story editors. There are director's assistants. But also it was one of the first web series, and people were still trying to figure out how
Yes.
to do this.
Yes.
It started with 5 minutes, and then became 20 minutes, and all
Oh,
sorts of.
I know. One of the
So-
and Crystal was very brave and experimented and kept trying to see what what would
What
work,
works.
what didn't work,
The
whatever.
subscription.
She was she's very open. She's very collaborative. She wants you to. I used to say to her, well, I wanted more rules. Strangely enough, what you find when you don't have the network and you don't have P&G, I mean, there are many good things about that, but sometimes you need
Correct.
someone a wall to hit so you can know
Yeah.
you can pick your battles for one thing.
It focuses.
None of us have all good ideas. You know, sometimes you need to be questioned, or you need to be. And but Crystal was so funny in the beginning. I said, well, what do you think? Like 12 scenes, 15 scenes, 20 minutes, 50, just whatever works. Whatever's natural.
No, I give me a boundary.
You have to give us some rules so we can break them, because
Yeah.
that's what writers try to do. They try once you give them. But she's a very generous, as she is a generous actress, she's a generous EP. And really, my favorite season on Venice, I think she wrote.
Really?
She was the scene when when Jordan Clark, who played her father in real life, had a stroke, and they played the relationship heavily of him recovering. And I loved it for her as an actress, and sometimes I think because she couldn't think about the acting, she was even more wonderful in a lot of ways. It wasn't the most romantic season, because
it was real.
But it was very real. Her dealing this relationship, this tough relationship with the father and daughter, and then finding their way. She's a good storyteller.
Yeah, she is.
Yeah.
So when you
But then she brought on a real storyteller.
Well, and she brought you on in season 3.
Yes.
And so what was what did she ask you to come on as? What did she ask you to do?
One of the writers.
Mhm.
One of the writers. She just knew that I had loved those characters. We've worked together for a long time. We could fight and make up quickly. It's not, we're good. We're comfortable together. And she knew I would respect the story, and that I loved her work, and I loved Jessica, and she just had a great thing going. I was lucky because I was doing a regular day job, and to have a chance, and she's a guild signatory. She's doing it all right. For going into a brave new world. She was working with unions,
with the guild.
She was, trying to pay people as soon as she could, and do
getting
things.
all your friends from Guiding Light.
She
was smart. She did it professionally.
She really, So I give her so much credit for that, because we were all free falling after, it was.
It was shocking.
It must have been really
we were all
difficult.
trying to figure out how to do something new that honored, but old. A new way to do what we know how to do. And she managed to do it.
And so how did that work? Does she give you a story and you write it? Do you decide what the story is? How does it go?
Varied from year to year. I did 3 years, third, fourth, yeah. And I had 2 great women working with me the first year. Crystal would give us basic story and where she wanted to get to at the end of the season, which is a great thing.
Good.
That's what you want. You really.
That's helpful.
That is, Somebody asked me recently, what's the one thing you think about with your? I said, who dies at the end of the first season? Because you just need to know where you're going.
Somebody has to die.
Yeah, no, they don't have to. But,
the lesbian usually has to die.
I know. That's what we knew. Claire said she knew when we were pitching the first incarnation of possibly telling the story for 2 women falling in love. When the people kept calling it the Children's Hour.
Of course.
Which, of course, a brilliant writer, great whatever, but we don't need to tell that.
It's been told plenty of times.
Yeah.
Actually, we just posted an
I
article.
can understand when Lillian Hellman wrote this, maybe the lesbian had to die. But
especially since Lillian Hellman herself was troubled. But, we just shared an article where they actually had detailed the 77 lesbian and bisexual characters who have died on television. What terrible deaths they all got, It's all very... it's all punishment.
Fine, because we all die, but to be punished,
I think statistically we die more often.
Well,
and in more gruesome ways.
That's not nice.
No, it's not. So at least in Otalia nobody died, even if they never got to kiss, they at least didn't die.
No.
Thank you.
Oh, you're welcome.
But you came on the show when it had already been a story.
Yes.
So what do you do with that? Because, it was kind of a fresh start, but at the same time you have to kind of untangle things that had been tangled before, or how do you do that?
She was interested in getting back after the year of dealing with Jordan, with her father and Gina and her dad. She wanted to get the relationship back in rolling along, and she knew that I'd be on board with moving it slowly, but romantically.
Slow burn.
And she likes, and that I do like the triangle or whatever in a lot of ways with Lara, because we all have our self-destruct. We all fall in love at some point or another with someone who's not good for us, and
Otalia,
Annie, it was a very, I liked the fact that Crystal
was abusive and she was an alcoholic.
She
was bad.
She was bad. But that
was
Annie,
interesting because that's usually with the man is.
Yes. And
Well,
here's
there is
Annie,
abuse between
Annie the
same-sex
fixer,
couples.
trying to fix both women
Right.
actually in a lot of ways, even though Gina is her.
That's actually
Fixes
very
her, you know,
believable
so-
about Annie.
Yeah,
Yeah.
she's such a fixer, and those are the things you always wish you had more time to deal with. I'm always very interested in Annie, not only because Jessica's such a terrific actress, but I feel like there are years of delving into that character that I would love to do. And I know Crystal, we've talked about that a number of times, but
So where are we now on Venice?
when let's see, season 5.
When last we saw Annie.
Previously
at the
on
end,
Venice.
yes, previously on Venice. Gina interrupts Annie and Lara's wedding. She does
Couldn't
a
get more
classic.
soap than
That's
that.
about
I know.
as soapy
This
as
is
you can
actually,
get.
if you ever see our wedding ceremony tape, when Mimi actually stopped the
there,
ceremony
yeah.
and
I
said,
said,
if this were a soap,
this were
somebody
soap,
would be coming
someone
in
would come
right
in.
That's a
now.
great moment.
We may have to actually show that.
Well, we should
No,
plan
we're not
something
going to show
like-
that.
If we were in a soap opera, someone would
Or they would break through the door at this moment.
All right, we're safe.
Something like that. We're just all too happy.
Michael, the guy who married us,
Appreciated
it.
he enjoyed that.
Yes,
He
you really
laughed,
enjoyed
yeah.
that.
Anyway,
Everyone was so darn happy that day.
yeah. it was a good day.
We were,
Anyway, so she interrupted the
She
wedding.
did,
in
and
the
that's where
most
we left her.
soap
And so
opera way.
the season pickup will be Annie making a decision if she's going to. Annie has to make a decision, and then if she makes a decision to be with Gina or give it a try, we watch them try to get out of their own way, as I said, and try to be together. It doesn't mean Lara's out of the picture. Penelope Kochel and I, former Guiding Light colleague, present writing partner, wrote. We worked with another great daytime writer for season 4, Janet Cabuzio, and Janet is on days she's busy. She's got, as we said, she's got a day job. She's a good one, And Penelope and I did the first draft of season 5 while Crystal was making her movie that we all
Which
went
we
to
are
see.
dying
We're
to
dying
Wait
to
to see.
see.
What's it called again?
A Million
Amen. Happy
A Million
Now.
Happy Now.
Yes.
That's right.
Which,
Yeah.
when it comes out, we will definitely
We will
devote
have it.
We will
a vlog for it.
It looks really good.
And we can't wait to have Crystal on here as soon as she comes
She's
to New York.
promised.
She's fun.
It is
We know.
fun.
Yeah. She
And she can praise Jill a little more than Jill is
she's
praising
very
herself.
good to me. She doesn't need to praise me. She's hired me. She's paid me. She's been a good friend. She and I believe it's Lindsay Harrison is the writer out in LA. Penelope and I handed over a couple drafts. They've taken it and done their thing. They do, and they're very funny. A lot of times when she'll come up with really funny, quirky, cool stuff, I think I don't know how to write a funny funeral. I don't know how to write a funny funeral. And they take it and they did a lot of work, I think, on this season that I'm looking forward to as a viewer. So
do
she
we
kept
know
us
when it's coming
posted.
out?
Where do we see it again?
Well, right now it's been off the
Right.
website since
Yeah.
December
Yeah.
2013.
That's right.
So now we're waiting for a
the
new season. And then we'll just have, I think, subscribe
Just
again.
Talk to Crystal. They're doing I think they're doing subscription again.
You can watch the first 2 seasons for free on
Yes,
YouTube.
you can.
Right.
Yes, you can. She's splitting this season in half. I believe she said 6 episodes will be shown in 2016 and 7 in 2017. I don't know the details. We have to get her. She needs to.
Yes,
get
we need her
She's
here.
doing a lot
Right
of press.
here with us.
If we had the money to fly her in,
I know.
If we had the money to fly her in, we'd
we would
fly
fly
out.
there.
I love LA. I'd like to go.
Yeah,
But
it's
she,
true.
so I think that's the story right now, dividing it, and I think it's going to be a good one. I think she did a lot of great stuff.
Right.
She, at the very beginning, was really double. She was doing the movie and doing Venice and had to really focus on the movie. I think once she turned herself to Venice, I have a feeling, I'm looking forward to it.
Yes.
And do you know what the long-term goals for Venice are in terms of if she has the story?
Distribution
No,
or
no.
story.
The
Oh.
story. Well, if you know
I
anything that we should know about
No,
the
I wish I knew.
distribution.
No, those would be her. I was going to say those are her answers. I don't know about that, but because she always surprises me. She's got a lot going on. But
In terms of the story.
story.
Mhm.
Oh, I think we want the audience to be satisfied.
Absolutely.
Everyone who's a Venice person
Venice
understands, and we're all fans. No, and we're fans. Annie and Gina. It's a great cast, but Annie and Gina are.
Our
Our end game, as we used to
They're
say,
our end
Otalia
game.
speak.
Sure, that would be.
Okay,
Well,
we'll be waiting.
I think we have something very exciting for you to tell us about. I think that we want to hear about your new project.
Yes,
Oh,
we would
that's
really like to
pretty
hear about
darn
your new
exciting.
project.
Well,
Come on.
I said to somebody, it's a Jeopardy category. Places you would never expect to see Lorie Hurst. I'll take that for $2,000. I had great good fortune of working with an old colleague from Guiding Light, Penelope Kochel, for the last year or so, Venice, and then while Crystal was making the movie and we were waiting for notes, we started writing a Good Wife spec, and then we started working on a couple of pilot ideas. Penelope, who is a relationship with Warren Light, who's showrunner along with Julie Martin for Law and Order SVU, ran into Warren. Warren very generously let us come pitch some ideas, and a few months later he assigned Penelope and I the freelance episode, which they get to do each
One
year.
a year.
One a year.
One a year.
He's a lovely man.
stop
He's one of
it.
my favorite playwrights, so it's kind of an exciting thing for me to work for him. I'm a little starstruck. Penelope, luckily, is an excellent procedural writer because it's a different genre.
So you wrote an SVU episode.
And you are here to oversee the shooting of it, right?
Oh, well, we're here because we're very proud that they let us watch, and they have director's chairs that say writer, and we jump in the chairs. People ask us if we want food. So we don't know what to do about that.
Wow,
We're very
you made
busy.
Mariska?
The big time.
Yes, tell us about Mariska.
Mariska is great. Mariska's husband was on Guiding Light.
That's right, Peter.
So Peter, great guy. So I'd met Mariska years ago in Bendel's when she was shopping and I was Christmas shopping. So with Peter, but she's great. She's very cool. She's the show. She's like a Crystal or a Zimmer or anybody who's driving energy. She's there. She's funny. She's not afraid to ask a question. We were, but she was kind to us and funny but respectful in the sense of not afraid to come in and say, I'm not sure. We enjoyed the interaction. It's still going on. It takes a few months.
I want to be there.
Oh, I wish we could come with you.
It's a great. I wish you could. You probably could have. You know more about these type of shows.
No.
But great cast, really good people. He said to us yesterday. He said, "What did he say to us? Why do all you cute little girls come up with scary ideas?" He's really nice. But they're all nice. They're good. They're good people, great producers, and the staff. It was.
Are we allowed to say who we know?
The guest.
Oh yeah, because
another little treat for soap.
We were really excited at the beginning when Warren Light said to us that we could feel free to pitch people from daytime. He liked the soap actors. He thought he's hired them over the years. He loves Beth Chamberlain.
Mm-hmm. Oh,
she
Beth
did
was so
she had one of the best episode they've ever had.
Man, Tina's on the show and did a really.
Tina's done too, I think.
Yeah, she's on that. She was so funny when she found out. She said residuals, Shelley. But they've used a lot of our people, and so we pitched a few. We said, and they were. The great thing is the casting people knew all of them, so I was very proud.
Listen, New York. So people and Broadway people.
Exactly. But we have Tom Pelfrey, who is our kid, and it's when I sat at the table read, and you get your little card with your little name on it, and I saw mine, and then I saw his across the table, and I said, my husband said, "Did you cry?" I said, "What could have?"
Tom Pelfrey.
Are you shooting on location or on set?
Some we did studio. We have studio, and there's a big event that's going to shoot in Chelsea and then out in Bushwick in Brooklyn. So we're out a little bit. But
when is it airing?
May 4th.
May 4th, people. Send your DVRs.
It's a real collaboration. It's been such a learning experience. It's amazing.
Which show would be your dream show to write to?
That's on the air now.
It's on the air now.
Well,
big
you know what?
Cheese ball.
Yeah.
Sap. What would be? But I don't know right now. If it was I'm such a. Oh gosh, I always call myself a Gilmore Girls writer, but it's not.
Well, it's coming back.
Well, that's Amy Sherman Palladino's baby. She's got it. One of our young people from Guiding Light was a writer's assistant on that show. I was wishing that she would be writing it.
Well, you could shoot an email to somebody.
And a Good Wife, forget about it.
I know they're
Yeah,
done.
that's it.
We now have a spec script for a show that's going off.
Tragic.
I know. It is. It's very
It was
sad.
a very great spec, by the way.
Oh,
We
thank
loved
you.
it.
Oh yeah,
Thank you.
fantastic.
We had fun. We had fun with that. That was
I'm gonna miss that show.
me too.
So, what
I'm
else?
not happy about that at all.
Well, let's see. What shows do you watch?
What do you watch?
shows do you
Well,
love?
you guys are much cooler TV viewers than I am. I'm terrible.
We're just
Well, we watch
obsessed.
everything.
Terrible.
So,
Tommy I'm a, you know,
Mom, you could write for Mom.
I like Mom.
It's a
Oh,
great
Mom.
show.
Fantastic.
I really like it because that was always my thing at guiding light. Who's got a drinking problem on this show?
There you
Everyone's
go.
recovered. I love
Everybody's
it.
got a drinking problem.
I know it's a really good show.
The way
build
they
It
manage
is
to
a
right
really
on
good
the
show.
set of the
Yes.
comedy.
They walk that
Fantastic.
line. Just
I know. If you have her, it's
that's right. She was on Guiding Light, you know.
Really?
How's
She
your
played
receptionist?
Ginger.
She was a very
Ginger the
geeky-
maid.
Yeah.
Oh,
And
she was
made. Oh my god,
Is
let's
she
find
that-
some
do you
clips
remember
on
that-
YouTube.
Donna.
I mean, I forget the actress's name.
Yeah, but they were two
They
maids and they were
so
comic and they
funny.
worked with us
Fiona Hutchinson.
I'm gonna have to find
They
clips on
were
YouTube.
hilarious.
That sounds too funny.
Oh, they were so
And
funny.
she's another great person. Our casting director at Guiding Light hired great actors who were also great people.
Was this
And
Betty?
that was Betty.
Betty
Betty
Ray.
and
Betty
Jimmy
Ray
both loved her.
was
They'd
one of the
go out and
greats.
see her in theaters. Betty Ray was
One
she
of the
was
greats.
the first Guiding Light there. That I mean, she was the reason I wanted to stay. Watching her with the actors and how respectful and kind she was.
She was brilliant and a
She-
wonderful woman.
Yep.
So this is a question Mimi came up with, and I really like it.
Oh, well, that's
Who
it.
would you consider your biggest mentor throughout your career?
I think there are three, but Nancy Williams Watt.
Mhm.
Oh, geez. Thanks for that question, Mimi. It's like, Nancy Williams Watt, Paul Rausch, and Ellen Wheeler. Yeah.
That's a good
Yeah,
group.
good group.
And so,
Very good
and this
group.
leads to the next question: who would you thank in your Emmy speech? I guess these three.
Those three. Oh, boy. Every writer, every writer's assistant, every kid in production. If it was Guiding Light, every actor on Guiding Light who taught me something. See how ready I am? I didn't know I was so
And
ready.
you already have the tears happening.
Yeah, those happen. Yeah, I could use a cry right now. No, but Nancy Paul, I was so lucky. I really was. And
And
to
also
have brave people.
talented and
No, but to have
wonderful and
brave
smart.
people who were talented enough to take a chance because they knew if for some reason I couldn't pull it off, it's okay. They would make it okay.
Because they saw
They were
something
good.
in you.
Yeah.
Well,
Jilly.
Paul,
They saw something that obviously we all see.
We all
in
see
you,
in you,
so
which is a humanity and an intelligence and
fabulous. You're
a
just fabulous.
great.
There she
person.
goes. You know, I think she's the second guest we made cry on our show.
Did we make Libby cry?
Yeah, well, Libby cries at the
Oh,
drop
yeah,
of a
Libby
hat,
did.
and she probably dropped her hat. Thank you so much for being on our show.
thank you so
We love you,
much.
and we literally, and I don't
Thank you.
use the word literally lightly,
No.
we literally would not have been here
If
if it weren't for you.
And we literally love you.
We
Well, I
literally
love you too.
Let's bring it in.
Kind of
for-
grossed out.
Cue.
Yay!